Hello everyone, how are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. Today guys, I'll be checking out this interesting video from Thomas Sowell Reacts, and it's titled Why American Students Are the Dumbest in the World. You guys, I'm excited for this, and without much ado, let's see what this video is all about.
Again, charter schools and their enemies, the study where you go into you present charts, tables, the facts, the figures. The argument is the results are just unassailable. But that's in New York City because that's where the data was available that allows you to compare. All right. But again, you do talk about other places, including California. Charter schools and their enemies. And again, we're on the enemies here. New laws passed in California in 2019 empower local education officials, that is, the officials running the traditional or regular public school system, empower local education officials to deny applications for establishing charter schools if the charter school in question, now you're quoting the new law, is demonstrably unlikely to serve the interests of the entire community, close quote, or if again quoting, the school district is not positioned to absorb the fiscal impact of the proposed charter school, close quote. Well, that's a lot of words, and here's what it means. Again, I'm quoting you. In short, incumbents, those already in power, incumbents are empowered to determine if the community really needs their competitors, or if the competition of newcomers would inconvenience the existing institutions, close quote. You're not being unfair or too harsh there. You don't want to take back any of what you wrote there, do you?
One of the things I do in the book is point out that this whole approach has a long history in other fields of endeavor. It's been embedded in the radio industry, the television industry, freight carrying, the airline industry, and which you set up a law that says, in order to be authorized to operate in this industry, you must show that there is a public necessity or convenience that you're going to provide. And this will, of course, be judged by people who are looking at your impact on the existing people in the industry. And that, for decades, as more and more people were taking the airlines, they never could seem to find a need for any more airlines to come into the industry. Because they realized that if you had competition, some of the existing airlines would go bankrupt. And when they finally, and it was during the Carter administration, one of the few things that was done right, they got rid of this legislation. Immediately, other airlines were created. Airline prices fell. Far more cities had airline service. So this idea that they're doing this to protect the public is absolute nonsense. They're doing it to protect the incumbents. Just to give one other example, when FM radio came along, and FM radio has a better sound, which is why most music stations are on FM radio rather than AM. It was technologically available decades before it became widespread, because they were saying this will have a bad effect on the AM stations if we allow FM stations. And so they delayed it for as long as they possibly could. It's absurd when you think about it, but they put it in these wonderful sounding words and hope that you don't think about it.
Tom, well, charter schools and their enemies. Again, we're on the enemies. Teachers' unions, I'm quoting you, teachers' unions are the politically strongest of the organizations opposed to charter schools. They possess millions of members and make millions of dollars in political campaign contributions, close quote. Now, here's something, I'm sure you've heard this, and I've heard it over and over again. Wait a minute. All right, advocate for charter schools if you want to, but don't bash the good people who are trying to make the public school system work. Teachers,
well, the good people who are trying to make the public school system work are doing it by putting roadblocks in the ability of students to transfer out of traditional public schools. One of those roadblocks is simply laws that give an arbitrary number as a limit to the number of charter schools that can be authorized. This number has nothing whatever to do with whether the charter schools are good, bad, or indifferent. It has nothing to do with whether the existing traditional public schools are good, bad, or indifferent. This is an arbitrary number, which means that in New York, the Success Academy Network, for example, which received over $9 million from federal money last year, is unable to expand because they're up against this magic number.
Wow, you guys, what are your thoughts on this video, and what do you think are the reasons why American students are the dumbest in the world? Do you agree with Thomas Sowell on this? If you do agree with Thomas Sowell on this particular one, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and if you do not agree with him, also drop your thoughts in the comment section, and let's continue watching, you guys.
And therefore, no matter how well they train the students, or how badly the other schools are training them, they simply cannot expand. In cities across the country, there are places where there are vacant buildings that have been vacant for years, school buildings. And they block the charter schools from getting into those school buildings, because if they get into those school buildings, they will have classrooms in which to take the kids who are on the waiting list. In some places, they have actually demolished school buildings, making sure the charter schools can't move into them. So these are the good people that you speak of, who are really trying to protect the traditional public schools.
I'm going to take one more sally. I know I take my life in my hands when I try again against you, Tom, but how all of us can picture teachers in the public, well, those of us who went through the public school system in the old days. Ordinary teachers, in my experience, tend to be very good people. I guess what I'm asking is, what happens? I think we can posit that most teachers go into the profession hoping to do good with the kids. They retain some idealism. The job, for most of them, they take it seriously, it's hard, and they want the best for the kids. And then the teachers' unions behave just as you say they behave. What happens when individually good teachers come together to try to effect collective action? Is there some distinction? Is there some explanation, some systemic explanation for why good people can end up supporting a bad system?
Well, first of all, teachers' unions are not created by teachers. There are people who create unions. And in fact, the interests of the teachers' unions can be opposite to those of the teachers. For example, if there's a large increase of money into the school system, and they're always saying it's underfunded, no matter how many billions of dollars go down a bottomless pit. When the money is out there and available, you could use that money to raise teachers' salaries. That would be good for the teachers. It would be bad for the teachers' unions. The teachers' unions get more dues if, instead of raising the teachers' salaries, you create more jobs, more teachers' aides, more counselors, more nurses, more this, more that, more bureaucrats in the system, because all those people will be paying union dues. Whereas if you simply have higher paid teachers, you don't get any increase in union dues.
All right.
So long as public schools are treated as places that exist to provide guaranteed jobs to members of the teachers' unions, do not be surprised to see American students continuing to score lower on international tests than students in countries that spend a lot less per pupil than we do. Once again, we have a bunch of people making decisions for which they pay no price for being wrong. Well, the kids will pay the price, and maybe the nation, or maybe they themselves will pay the price in the future when eventually these poorly educated, emotionally stirred students become leaders in the nation, and then we know what happens. You let me know what you think about this in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell if you're new to the channel. Thank you for watching, and on to the next one. Stay free.
Wow, you guys, that was such an interesting one from Thomas Sowell, and I really enjoyed every minute of this video. And no matter how a person thinks he or she can change the educational system or doesn't like what is going on, because of the union that governs that educational system, there is almost nothing that person can do, because once you go against the union, you might as well count yourself out of that job and nobody wants to lose their job because they want to go against the rules and regulation governing that educational system. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. We all know that majority carries the vote, and I don't know what one teacher or two can do to change the situation of the educational system in America. But let me know your thoughts. Leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.